Welcome to another episode of Literary Gladiators, the show where we discuss and debate literature in all of its forms. If it's written work, it's game. Let's meet the panel.
Hi, I'm Larry.
Hi, I'm Brian.
I'm Kaila.
And I'm Josh. Today we are going to be going over a short story that Kaila selected that was originally published in the Analog Science Fiction and Fact magazine back in the September-October 2018 issue. Funny enough, I got a good handful of 2018 issues from Analog, just not that one. And the story we're going over is The Unnecessary Parts of the Story by Adam Troy Castro, who has contributed plenty to these magazines. Anything you wanted to say about the story?
It's a quick little short story, science fiction. Aliens, sci-fi, that's your vibe, you like it?
And do we have a discussion starter?
Yes. So, the writing of this is it's like a very specific style. Do you think that the style it's written in is successful, and why do you think the author chose this style?
I like the style. I think it's a lot of fun.
Yeah, I agree. I think it was a fun read.
Yeah.
Experimental.
Mm-hmm.
Absolutely, indeed.
I don't know. It kind of lost me a little bit with the big reveal. I wasn't too crazy about that part.
Okay.
But everything leading up into that, I was having a blast with it.
The part that it was told from the point of view of a disease, or?
Yes, that part.
Okay.
Yeah, I didn't find that particularly believable.
Were you surprised by it, or did you catch on?
No, I didn't. I had no idea that was coming.
Okay.
It was somewhat choppy, but I think that the intent is we generally do not get the eagle-eye perspective of a particular situation or circumstance.
I thought it was kind of cool the way it was written because, I guess if you're looking at it from the perspective of a disease, there are a lot of unnecessary parts of a story. So I think it was interesting the way it kind of played with that, and there was no, I guess, real story to it. You're kind of just seeing snippets of it almost, and you're not really given a beginning. You're just kind of like, okay, this is what we're dealing with here. I thought that was kind of cool.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I liked it. I liked it. It was kind of like a tongue-in-cheek, jabs being taken at science
Hollywood
fiction tropes and things like that.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what I liked about it. How it kind of just dove in and was like, you don't need to know any of this, but you need to know this.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. As far as the characters are concerned, I don't think they were meant to be very multi-dimensional. That was not the intent of.
No.
I think it was more about technique, the experimentation of the mechanics of how to execute and approach the circumstances. Portraying Hennessy as somebody that was once a person but has become this
thing.
Yes.
Yeah. I think too it's funny coming from where we just were talking about Annihilation, where it plays on tropes, and then this also plays on tropes. But I think this did it in a much better way. Mm-hmm. It was much more sarcastic, and it just you didn't have to rely on anything about the characters in order to get the trope.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's you got the pragmatic woman, right? He's kind of like Ellen Ripley, right? You think?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then you got the captain, kind of reminded me of Picard, I'd say, right?
Yeah.
So there were these definite people that come to mind, right?
Yeah.
So and the other thing too is that the narration is constantly telling you, you've heard this before. This is nothing new.
Right.
Right.
And
you've all seen this movie already.
Right. Yeah. Exactly.
Yeah, it was very fourth wall, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then for me, I kind of liked it where you hit the end and you're like, you've all seen this movie already, but you didn't think about what happened afterwards because I've already colonized. I won in the end.
Yeah. Yeah. And no overt mind control. There's that, which is kind of interesting.
Yeah, it did exactly what the characters expected them to.
So I thought it was pretty fun. I was kind of let down by, I said, the idea of this conscious virus. I don't. Yeah.
I would say that I get where you're at. I would say I somewhat agree. It seemed like the narration was very sketchy, but then just to say, told from the point of view of disease.
Yeah, I don't think that it was something that you had to work too hard to understand or anything like that. It kind of reminded me of like a short story that Stephen King would write or something. It wasn't like written the same way he would, but it was kind of the same like twist ending, but it's like all laid out in the open for you.
I prefer the short stories that I've read from Stephen King to this.
Okay.
That's just where I stand. Anything else anybody wanted to bring up?
I don't think so.
It's fun.
Yeah,
It's
fun.
definitely fun. Yeah.
Adam Troy Castro is a polished writer. He writes science fiction, fantasy, and horror, and he's been nominated for Hugo, Nebula, and Stoker.
I'm definitely interested in especially if like the rest of his writing is this like sarcastic and tongue-in-cheek. I'm definitely interested in checking out like more of what he's written. I feel like I've read something else by him, but I'm not sure what or why.
Yeah, I'm into those kind of anthologies too. I'm more so into. I really started to double down on literary magazines because it gives me an idea of different kinds of writers. So I like the idea of exploration of what literature has to offer. So I guess everybody stated what their final thoughts were.
Yeah.
Alrighty. If you're interested in checking out this particular The Unnecessary Parts of the Story by Adam Troy Castro, here is an anthology that Kaila referred to.
Yes. It's the year's best science fiction and fantasy from 2019. Edited by Rich Horton.
Okay. Yeah, it was originally published in Analog Science Fiction and Fact, September-October of 2018, but it made it into that anthology, which is an accomplishment when many of them will start out in magazines, and the best ones, according to the editor, year's best horror has been edited by Ellen Datlow for years, and I had the ability to meet her twice. So thank you for tuning in, and be sure to join us next time on another episode of Literary Gladiators. For now, keep reading. Hi there, this is Josh, and on the next episode of Literary Gladiators, Ari, Nick, Charlie, and I will be discussing Risen from the Dead by Franz Luce Benson. If you like what you see, please support us on our Patreon. For the money that we make will provide us with the resources that we need to provide you, the viewer, with more material. Thank you, and for now, keep reading.